So you have to think about how we train joint locking. So he gives me his hand, I take his hand, I put the joint lock on, and that's how we do it. Well, if you do that all the time and that's how you practice, you get used to giving people your hand, and you get used to going with it. When you deal with joint locks, ideally you want to escape the joint lock. So there are levels of escape, right? The first level is, I hope everybody would know this, but when he goes to grab, you should be very sensitive with your hands on how not to let him have your hands. You know, but a lot of times when we get in tight, people, they're so focused on hitting them, they don't pay attention to themselves. So when you feel that grab, you should be all the time just moving those hands so that you can work. But sometimes people get a hold of you. This is how to make it so it's not so hard. Joint locks only work if they get very deep. So if I grab him, and I partially have him, and he wants to slip, he can. Once I get this on here to a point where it's very deep and it's locked in, it's very hard to escape that. You see it all the time. If you watch even like MMA, like you see like people go down in those bent arm bars, or they'll go into kimuras on the ground, and the reality is once it's deep, those people have to tap because they're going to lose their arm. So with joint locking, it's really the same idea. If you put this on and you get it to a point where it's very deep, you can drop on it. It's very hard to deal with it. So the best way to escape this is, a lot of times people come into class and when they go to escape, when they get grabbed, what they do is they try to muscle away from it. Like they panic and they squeeze. But what you'll find is you just don't want to fight them on the angle where they're strong. So if we go like this, right, and he's pushing and I'm pushing, I don't want to push him against his strength. So when he grabs, ideally what I want to do is the minute this comes on, I want to find a direction that is not strong for him. So if I can find an angle where you see his body goes out of structure and allows me to come out, it's fairly easy to come out of that. Most of the time, you want to work against the thumb, right? So what happens is when I go like this, you see like his thumb right here. When he grabs me, as I come over, there's like a weak spot through there. So as he goes like this, right there, you see the thumb? And that's where the break point is, where you want to go through the thumb. So anytime someone grabs you, if you can go to that thumb, like it makes it a lot easier just to escape. And most of this is just circles, right? You want to be very simple, very easy. But also where people fail with this is they tense up and they try and fight with their hands. You want your whole body to be involved in this because my whole body needs to be stronger than this point. If we're muscling back and forth, you know, he might be able to outmuscle me if I fight him from here. But if I'm using my whole body against that point, it's very hard for him to hold on. You know, you just work against it. So the basic premise is you want to get your body together where it moves together. And then you want to find weak points in his structure to pop out. So that's one thing if he grabs and he's holding, right? But when you're dealing with joint locks, what people do is they grab, they try and put the joint lock on, right? So you have your basic ones like this. You have that, you have this, and you have that. So when you're escaping a joint lock, ideally what you're doing is you're following the motion. So when he goes to put this on, what I have to do is I have to follow his motion. See how like, as they start to make the move, instead of resisting the move, you want to go into the move. So every time he tries to joint lock and he tries to go into the motion, or he tries to put it on, I want to swim with that move. Because with a joint lock, two things need to happen. I need the guy being joint locked, you have to make him have a structure. But for most people joint locking, they need a structure too, right? They need to be in their center and their hands need to be in the right spot. But if he starts to put this on, you can disrupt that. Where you come in and just kind of swim against the joint lock, right? To where, you see how I've turned him? So if he goes to put on like this one, right? And I swim. You see, he started to put it on, I just swam with it, right? If he was going, say, like this, if I just kind of roll, right, look, I want to see through it. So he's got pressure here, I take pressure off with my elbow, and that allows me to come through. If he's going like this, right, if I go into it, see how I go into it and I kind of disrupt the motion. And they're all like that. You got to play with them. You know, when someone grabs you, how you do this is you work with people and have them do it slow to get the idea. Start them have the motion and put it on, then you have to feel how you can pop out of it. Now again, you don't pop out of it by using your hand. You pop out of it by, as he puts this on, my whole body has to move with it, and my feet have to move, so that I can actually disrupt the motion right away. I need myself in good structure, and I want to take him out of structure to a position that's bad for him. Now, this is step 2 because you caught it light, right? The reality is like I said, at some point, when someone has something on really good and they're really fast on it, it kind of is what it is. You can't escape all of them. No one's perfect. If they were, no one would ever get tapped out or choked out or any of that, because, you know, some things you're just not going to get out of. It is what it is. But the majority of them, if you catch them very early and you work with them very quickly, odds of them putting it on aren't too good. So start slow. Have people put you in joint locks and start feeling right away, how do I roll with these things? And then when you get better with it, see how you can roll and then turn it back. So as you get the feel, you go into that lock, right? You see how you can slide to the next lock. And this way, over time, you get very, sneaky on how to put them on. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Leave comments. Feel free to share. It helps the channel grow.